All right, welcome back. It's time for our first interview. We're looking at the real estate sector and how the sector is faring with the COVID-19 pandemic. Joining me to talk about that is the National President, National Institute of Estate Surveyors and Values, Emmanuel Wike. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, let's get started. Is COVID-19 pandemic impacting the value of properties in Nigeria? Because I want to know that. One would assume perhaps prices should be falling.
Yes.
Whether around commercial and even residential.
Yes. First of all, we must acknowledge the fact that the pandemic was not planned for. So most of the things that had happened so sudden. So people were not prepared for it. It has brought a lot of negative impacts on real estate, both commercial, residential, industrial, and even agriculture. The only sector that part of real estate sector that one can actually say traverse during this period is the health sector, in the sense that those that are into health sector, those that have that occupied property that we are using same for health services actually thrive during the period. But for residential, commercial, industrial, we had a very negative period for our clients.
So does that mean that what's happening with pricing and valuation?
Well, generally, the real estate is one of the barometer for measuring the GDP. What has happened is that there is a static position now. Most of the places you see, you find out that there are a lot of vacant or void properties, and that means that the value of the property is not improving, rather is static, and there is every tendency that it will be like that for some time. What that means is that this period is like the buyer's market, because it's the buyer that actually decide or determine what is in the market that you will be able to purchase. So that has brought a situation where a lot of people who have invested in real estate have to take some time before they start reaping their profit. So presently, the real estate, the pricing has been static and is like places like Lagos, Abuja, most of the major cities, you have that it is static for this period of time instead of increasing.
How far or how long do you think that this stability in prices will continue, and when do you see a recovery?
Well, for us, we are actually carrying out a research on that, and our anticipation is that in the next few weeks we'll be able to come up with a figure. But for now, what we have seen is that in the second quarter of 2021, sorry, that is the time we will see that the economy is coming back to normal, because now we are almost at a static position, and if we allow businessmen and also real estate developers and real estate investors to come back into the sector, there's every tendency that in the second quarter of 2021 the real estate sector will pick up again. Is
your institute putting into cognizance that consumer spending is low? Disposable income is low, GDP is contracting. When I mean GDP, I mean economic activities. So let me break it down. There's economic output, what I do, what you do, the result of that. So there's the contraction of economic activities in the country, unemployment is high and all of that. So how is that also going to play out in the recovery that you are expecting by 2021? Because if we continue this way, the third quarter of 2020, the economy will also nosedive.
Yes.
If it also nosedives after the third quarter, the economy might just enter a recession.
What we are looking at is the palliative that the federal government have actually provided for real estate investors. The 500 million naira they have provided, if that is invested into the economy, there's every tendency that the economy will peak gradually. And again, for individuals, there's every tendency that, yes, the purchasing power is low, because most people have lost their jobs. Most of the tenants will not be able to pay their rents for this period of time, so it's going to affect the economy. So, but with time, and with the investment and the palliative that the government is providing, and what the private sector is also doing, I'm very, very convinced that it will pick up from there, and the economy will gradually come to normal.
Are you seeing among your clients if they are downsizing their properties? What I mean by downsizing, you understand what I mean by downsizing? Yes, their properties. Either Perhaps if they were living in duplex before, because of the pandemic and the effects, they can't pay the rent again. They are moving to like 3-bedroom flat, or someone staying in 2-bedroom flat is now going for a 1-bedroom flat. Or you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Or even for those that are into commercial property, they are now seeing that I can actually work from home virtually, so there is no need for an office.
Yes, in the residential sector, that is where we have the in the commercial sector, that's where we have the problem, because a lot of people are working from the home, while most commercial office buildings are being void, because most companies do no longer use that big space they would have used if there is a physical presence. Now, because of the virtual meeting and other system that has been introduced by COVID-19, a lot of people are working from home. So there might be a little increase in residential, because the people working from home will still maintain their residential accommodation, while the office where they are working from might be void. So in the residential side, there could be a static position, but in the residential area, there would definitely going to be a lopsided.
That's in the commercial area.
In the commercial area, we're talking about the office space. So that's why you find out that, yes, the effect will not be as high as for residential, the way it will affect the.
But are you saying there will be an effect, even in residential?
Yeah, there will be an effect.
Because if someone does not have money to pay his her landlord or landlady for 2-bedroom flat, for example, and my money can afford a 1-bedroom flat or a 1-room at this time, I will go. Of
course, there is gentralization now. People that were staying in 2-bedroom because they cannot afford. And remember that what is obtainable in Nigeria is an advance rent payment. So what it means that for those that have paid their rent for 1 year, 2 years, that will expire the end of 2020, by 2021, that is when we will see this gentralization, where people who are staying in 2-bedroom will come down to 1-bedroom. But for now, they have to, if the economy, from what the government is doing, if the economy is rejected, then it means that they might be able to stay. But where it didn't, definitely there will be gentrification, where those staying in 2-bedroom will come down to 1-bedroom and even leave the area they were living to a lesser place. Definitely that will happen, but we will see that effect in 20. That's why I said in 2021 second quarter we might begin to see some changes. But for now, because of the advance payment of rent, we might not be able to see that for now. The effect will not be so pronounced. But from 2021 we begin to see such a situation. This
advance payments thing, what's the institute saying about it, or what are you people, especially in the sector, saying about it? Because a lot of people have kicked against it, that we should go by monthly.
Yes.
That is, we should go pay monthly. If my rent is, let's say, 30,000 every month, let me pay 30,000 every month instead of paying for 2 years, and not even 1 year, 2 years.
Yes.
I think the former he's still a minister, Babatunde Raji Fashola, when he was Minister of Housing, he did speak about it.
He did, but we should remember that we are talking about investment.
You can get his investment.
No, we are talking about investment. Somebody have taken facility from the bank. Is the bank charging him annually or monthly? You find out that what most financial institutions is charging is annually. So he needs to get back to the financial institution that was able to give him that facility to be able to pay back. So we are looking at, especially this period, my institution, Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, we are advocating to our members to be able to educate the landlord, educate the tenants on the issue of trying to help both the landlord and the tenant to understand the effect of the COVID-19, so that there will be no upward revision of rent. There will be no issue of I must collect 2 years rent. Within this period, what most of our members have done is, instead of collecting 1 year rent, they can collect 6 months. And that will be with the understanding of the landlord. And also to let the financial institution know, because it's a pandemic that affected all facets of the economy. So there is nobody.
But there's also a forbearance that the CBN had also put for banks. That's for those that are that have loans from banks. Banks should breathe a little bit less on them.
3 months. They give them a moratorium of 3 months. So after 3 months, what it means that they will definitely go back to their system. So that's why we are also advocating that the government should have, yes, they've tried at least to help the economy to grow, but the real estate sector is actually the barometer of GDP, and we really need to invest in that area and try as much as possible to make our mortgage system functional.
I was coming to that. What if our mortgage system is not as weak as it is? Because when you go even outside Nigeria, abroad, you see people pay their mortgage. When they get their salaries every month, a bit of it goes to their mortgage. And I can be in a house that I can pay, you know, for 10, 15, 20 years. I don't have to do like we are doing now, 2 years rent. When I finish living here, I'll go and look for another place too. Do you understand what I mean? So at the end of the day, when I calculate all the millions of naira or hundreds of thousands, I can actually own my own house within a stipulated period of time. Do you think that this is sustainable?
It's very sustainable if you have a good mortgage system, and which is part of what we are also trying to let the new managing director of Federal Mortgage Bank to know, that we need to work on our mortgage system and the mortgage refinancing system, where the loan that is given or facility that is given to real estate developers or tenants or whoever that is interested in real estate business should be able to have a long term, maybe 10, 15 years, and let the person pay, you know, annually on from what he can afford to pay, and let the mortgage bank be able to sustain whatever thing he has done. That is part of what we are also discussing, and I know that the new chairman or the MD will be able to listen to us, which we have sent our position paper on that.
So that's one of the challenges, the weak mortgage system.
Yes, correct.
Of course, there are many other challenges facing the property sector. The high cost of property development is one of it, isn't it?
Yes, that is the cost of building materials.
Yes.
Yeah.
What can be done? My simple arithmetics will tell me if we can produce, because perhaps some of it is also imported.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we're self-sufficient right now in cement.
We are self-sufficient in cement and maybe the sand and maybe the beats. But
how about paint?
Paint we have.
Okay.
But when you talk about the finishing, like the tiles, the sanitary wares, the electrical wares are all imported. So what it means is that until we get to a level where the government will invest more on research and development and try as much as possible to use the local materials to go into property development or real estate development, we will still have the same problem. So we need to encourage our academicians and those that are into research and development and see how we can actually reduce the number of building materials that we are importing into the country. That will actually reduce the cost of construction.
How about this old Land Use Act? We've been talking about it, and when it comes to the property sector or real estate sector, that challenge is always being talked about. But are we seeing any meaningful steps?
Well, as an institution, we have always stated that the Land Use Act should be repealed and should allow the market forces to determine the value of land. Now, what has happened is that the Land Use Act has nationalized the land and placed all land under the trust of the governors on behalf of other citizens of Nigeria, and have also reduced our interest from freehold property to freehold interest to leasehold interest, which is 99 years. But that is not helping us. So it's part of the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review have written to our institution, and it's one of the things that we are also recommending, that the Land Use Act should be repealed and amended so that people can have easy access to land for real estate development. And I'm sure that if the committee listens to us and the Senate and the National Assembly listen to us, and I think that will help us, because over 90% of the land in Nigeria is not titled, which means it's just a dead capital. You cannot use it for any financial transaction. So what it means is that you can't use it for mortgage, you can't use it for any financial business until we get to the level where we can actually use land for our different financial transactions. We will still not find it easy to grow in the real estate sector.
How about this stamp duty charge? Let's talk about it, because it seems to be a very sticky point. You and your colleagues are of the view that the sector has already been taxed so much.
Yeah.
I think out of about 55 of the items, perhaps around taxes, about 15 of it.
Yeah, our real estate.
Yes, our real estate. So speak to me about your dissatisfaction.
One is that it encourages investment in real estate sector, because it's like the real estate sector is overburdened with taxation. Like you said, we wrote to FIRS and they responded to us, and we want to thank the officers of the FIRS for also giving us opportunity to discuss with them. We have a meeting with them today for us to discuss on the issue. We want to thank them for giving us that opportunity, because we actually want to let them know that we are not against the government raising money for projects and for carrying out their policies. What we are saying is that let the burden not be so much on real estate sector. The stamp duty, we know, is there, the law is there, but asking for almost 1.5% at this period of time is a burden on the users, and the users at the end of the day are the tenants. Because if the landlord was letting his property for 100,000 naira before, he will now have to add another 1.5% of that rent onto the rent that the tenant is paying, and that is another burden on the tenant. So we actually want to see how we can collaborate with them and ensure that being one of the leaders in the real estate sector, that we should be able to discuss and give them our own ideas on how we think those things can be reduced and encourage real estate sector investment.
Are you just going to be consulting on the stamp duty charge? Because I know there are also other taxes, the capital transfer tax, the capital gain tax, the withholding tax, governor's consent?
Yes.
You have so many.
Yes,
you know, so are you also going to be talking to them about perhaps take this off or reduce this?
You know, each tier of government has its own responsibility. What the federal is, what we are going to discuss with FIRS is the tax that are collectible by the federal government. For the states, the tax that are collectible by the state government, we are also discussing with some of our branches who also interface with the state government on those issues, and the one that are done by the local government, because we might not be able to discuss the tax that are collectible by the state government by the federal.
FIRS.
So we will concentrate with the one that are being collected by the federal government, and after that we'll ensure that we'll do that. Like Lagos State, our Lagos State branch is doing a lot, and want to commend them for what they are doing with the government to ensure that the real estate sector is actually developed in the state, and we want other states government and other state branches to emulate what is happening there.
From an expertise point of view, what kind of houses do you think we need for the Nigerian population? We have 206 million people, close to 100 million people are in poverty. And if you take a look at that, 27% of Nigerians are unemployed. So with this kind of statistics and data, what kind of houses do you think that we need to, you know, reduce the housing deficit of 17 million?
I think what we need now is affordable houses. Affordable, especially
what does affordable mean?
Affordable in the sense that you look at the low-income earners, because that is where the deficit actually is. If you go around Abuja area, you will find out that there are a lot of vacant properties. Those vacant properties are vacant because there are people that can afford are not there. But there are people who have been looking for accommodation to stay. Because they cannot afford those ones, it means that there is vacancy on those properties. Meanwhile, we have a lot of deficit. We have a lot of people who are also looking for accommodation. So I think that what the government should do is to collaborate with the private sector and see how they can develop affordable housing.
What is affordable? I want
affordable
it in real
is
terms.
that you look
how much
at,
is
yes,
affordable?
No. You look at the earnings. Now we have the minimum wage. The government, if we have a good mortgage system, that is what we discussed before, if we have a good mortgage system, the person that is earning that kind of money should be able to have access to accommodation, where the mortgage system will be able to assist him to be able to get accommodation and pay for a very long time. The affordable we are talking about here, it's very difficult unless we begin to develop our own building materials. It's difficult for you to develop any property for less than 2 million, 3 million naira. I went to SciTech here, and I found out that one of our colleagues, Estes of Yobelo, is trying to use some of the materials we can actually develop here for his development. And it's for us to encourage other real estate developers to see how we can actually move on using locally produced products to be able to do that. Now, what that means is that it's going to reduce the cost of construction, and it's going to reduce the value of those properties. It's going to reduce the cost of construction that will enable those that can afford that kind of houses to do. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw one state governor that went to commission about two-bedroom, about 200 or 300 buildings. That is the kind of thing we're looking at. So the civil servants that are within that range should be able to give to be given a mortgage that will enable them go into such houses. That is the affordability we are talking about.
Okay, I think we'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll be speaking about the real estate sector, especially as it concerns pricing, property outlook, especially as we try as much as possible to get out of this pandemic. I've been speaking with the estate surveyor, Emmanuel Wike, who is the national president, National Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. Yes,
institution.
National Institution.
Yes. Okay,
of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. Thank you for watching our video. Please hit the subscribe button below. Turn on post notification to follow all our updates.